the Year nomination.
Rookie of the Year!
That's staying in the shot. Man, oh my goodness. We have come to the end of another year of Wildcard Improv. We have existed for quite a long time. I think we've seen so many different performers show up to this league and be amazing. But do you know what's one of the best feelings of all with a performer?
Well, it is one of the best feelings of all.
When they shine. And guess what? We haven't even seen them before. This is their first season. This is the end of the first season for multiple performers, and it is an absolute pleasure to have such a star-studded crew, I think, representing this award. I think this is truly a group that I thought was extremely good. There's going to be a billion nominees for this one. Off the bat, not nominees, sorry, honorable mentions, and then 4 nominees, just off the fact that there was so much talent that I think arrived this season to Wildcard, and it's one of those things where I'm like, please, all of you, keep coming back. You're going to be so good. Like, I can tell. Do we have any seniors in here? We do. Oh my goodness. I will clarify later.
Wait, which one's a senior? Oh, that's news to me.
That one. I believe that's a senior. If it's not a senior, it blows my mind. Okay, cool. So continuing though, Rookie of the Year. What defines a good Rookie of the Year, do you think?
So when I think of Rookie of the Year, it is definitely a yes. Like, we've never seen before. This is your first time in improv. It's the first time you're doing it. But it doesn't feel like it's the first time. And that's the coolest thing, is when you watch a performer, you're like, wow, this dude's been doing it forever. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is my first year. You're like, how? And like and sometimes I really like that, because I love to just see natural like talent, really.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing, right? It doesn't mean like just because you do improv, you have to be talented naturally and everything. No, it's a skill that you build up, but some people already have that in them, and then you can only build from there. And I think that is so incredible, especially when it's like their first time.
Yeah, no, truly. This list is full of absolute banger performers. Some people who like grew throughout the season, and other people who just naturally are so good at it. I think one performer does have improv experience, and this is our first time seeing them. And to not throw them on this list would be a crime in my mind. So going out of the way with some of our honorable mentions. One of our first honorable mentions has to be an honorable mention to a performer who is technically ineligible for this award, despite having their first full season, which is unfortunate. But technically, Kayla over from Spring Valley is ineligible for Rookie of the Year. I did tell them that at the beginning of the season. I said, you're really good. Pre-warning, I can't put you on that list because you technically performed last year. And Kayla was like, oh, dang, but that's true. So Kayla, as an 8th grader, performed last year for West Tech. Kayla, you are so good. You are amazing. We have seen everything that you bring to every single scene. So shout out you for being what feels like an amazing rookie, but technically you are now a sophomore, but you're gonna get to be a super senior at some point. So heck yeah. Continuing with my honorable mentions. Next honorable mention, I'm gonna give a shout out over to a performer at Del Sol, Melina, ironically the other counterpart to the Filipino baddies that is with Kayla, the secret dynamic duo that I hope to see grow together, even though they go to 2 different schools. Overall, Melina was such a very solid performer this year. I think I saw a glimpse of Melina in like one of the early shows, and as I've seen more of Melina as a performer, it was really cool seeing the character work that Melina has. There was this weird like bug collector character that Melina had.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to go on?
Yes, because like, okay, when you say Melina, my head instantly thinks bug person, because it's crazy. So before the show, I see Melina, and she's very she's there. She's respectable. She's calm. She's quiet. She's cool, whatever. But then that switch immediately gets on the floor and starts crawling for bugs. Starts grabbing people by the legs, and it's like, who is this child? This is not the same person I just saw backstage. And again, it's that switch. It's that fact that she had zero fear, full confidence, and was like, yeah, I'm committed to this character. I thought that was genius. I like it.
Yeah, I think Melina is very deserving of a shout out. Another one that we're going to shout out is going to be over at West Tech, Elfie. Elfie has gotten so much praise from West Tech's team. All the performers love Elfie over there, and I see why. Elfie as a performer, despite being very quiet and being shy at times, can also suddenly, once that confidence hits from Elfie, it is hilarious. And like Elfie is the type of performer where once that switch flips, you're like, wow, you're so good. In the few shows we got to see Elfie in, I think Elfie always stood out as a presence despite being on a stacked team, right?
Yeah.
Team that has a lot of big personalities and performers. Elfie always found a way to do really good. And continuing my shout out of Elfie, because I feel like this ties into the other one, because they had an amazing scene together that I think makes me want to point it out. I think this performer was in very few shows, but Elfie and Indy teamed up in a scene, and they both did really good. And Indy being another person who's an honorable mention onto this list today for Rookie of the Year. Indy, you are so funny. Oh my goodness. I think it was after the show, I think Indy and Elfie had to go over to like their parents and like talking. I was like, okay, I know that these are your parents. I've never met them before. Hello. Shout out both of you. You guys absolutely cooked. Oh my goodness. And I dapped them both up because they did so good. Roman, do you have any little bits that you have about either of these performers?
Well, technically both, because I was lucky enough to go to a West Tech practice one time and get to see more of their whole team, and then I've seen them perform as well. And with these two specifically, what I like about them is that, like, yeah, they could be the quiet ones, but they're like the technical ones. They're the ones that you need in scenes. Like, yes, everyone could be like the loud, like, yeah, I got all the like big punchlines and everything, but then you still need to make a scene make sense, right? Yeah. And that's where like Elfie and Indy come in, where it's like they listen so well that everything that you throw at them, they know how to make it make sense in the scene. If even like, because they're still gonna make jokes, but they don't have to be like big and explosive. They're just like calm, cool, collected, and just enough that like the glue is what like a lot of people like to say, right? They are like the strongest of glue. Truthfully.
Not no Elmers. We're talking straight
Gorilla
glue.
Gorilla.
Everything's stuck together.
Yeah, don't get it in your hair. It's really bad for you.
That's why Romeo's hair is not long. It would be this long.
It was longer, yeah, until like Gorilla glued it.
And actually, I want to give one more honorable mention, I think, for this award. I don't have it in our notes, but I think it should be noted. I think this performer is a very, very strong performer naturally, and they just barely missed the cut for this specific award, but I think they deserve a shout out. I want to give a shout out over to Josh over at LVA. I think Josh did a very, very good job this season as a first-time performer with a lot of bigger characters that I think Josh has found a confidence in with coming up with these characters and these like choices. So I just want to give a shout out over to Josh as well. I think that's worth noting. Do you have any specific little bits or tad bits for that? Or?
I love Josh's commitment to anything, not just like to his own ideas, but if you initiate something to Josh, he will not just yes and it, he will be like, I get you, I got you. And he'll just go off and like work with you. Like he is someone who could be one of those explosive performers, or just be like, cool, you're taking lead, let me follow suit. And I think that's a very smart performer. Like for a first year performer to be that smart and have that intelligence and that IQ in improv, that's insane.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, sorry, I just want to say a lot of the people we're about to mention, I think have pretty high IQs for like first year.
Oh yeah, no, they're all freaking naturals. Yes. So the first performer that we are going to mention for our actual nominations is going to be also, ironically, over at LVA, Jesse. Oh my goodness. I want to shine the movement that Jesse can bring into a scene. I think Jesse is very good at these awkward. I'd find Jesse as slick as a performer because Jesse has these characters that stand and kind of wander like this and wade through the oceans that are the scene. And it's so weird, but it's so funny. Jesse's knowledge, and I think has an amazing joke IQ that you get to see on display quite often when they're performing. It's a lot of these little movements or choices that are really good. And I have to shout this out. Musical scene, we've had maybe one in the entirety of the season, and Jesse was a part of it and did an amazing job at that in that scene. Do you have any notes that you've noticed from Jesse this season with whether it be any performing? Yeah.
Actually, to piggyback off of what you said about like movement, right? Because like a lot of times you can see a lot of like animated people who are almost like cartoon characters in real life, but like with Jesse, it's not. Yeah, it's weird. It's like how do I say it? It's like a cartoon character, but it's almost like the draft where it's like they're not moving super like fluid, but they're moving just enough that you get it. You understand what's going on in the story. You can still laugh. And at the same time, even if Jesse's not moving, because they have such good movement, just them breathing and just standing there after a while and be like, like you can just see them like stand there. Their presence is enough sometimes.
This could maybe get cut out, but I want to see if this is a testament. I feel like Jesse moves in the same way that the character Krona moves in Soul Eater. It's kind of like such an interesting thing where it feels like Jesse's being led by something that we can't see, and it's like this weird like energy that you're like, what is pulling Jesse to that side of the stage so hard? But we can't see it, but we know it's there.
But you can still get the story. It's just like, what's the full thought process or like the motivation for like you get the result. It's crazy.
Jesse's an amazing performer, and I want to give a shout out to Jesse for that. Moving into the next one, over at Explore Academy, Karush. Oh my goodness, this kid is so good. Okay, sorry, but literally, watching Explore Academy, I remember going, I don't know if Karush got to see the championship day last year, but I spoke to Spiro before the season, and Spiro was like, Karush is like super, super good. And I was like, okay, I'll make sure to keep an eye out and try to watch, right? And I mean, testament over to Explore Academy, they've got nothing but banger performers. They have so many banger performers, just constantly, right? So you have Logan, Karush, Rory, Michael, oh my goodness, why am I messing up names? Tons of great ones. I can't remember all the names. Everyone's really good over there. One of the things though that I have to mention with Karush is he has a level of wittiness that like has to always be noted. Karush will always notice something and find a way to make it funny. He'll make a joke about it, right? If you give him like an object in an improv scene, like let's say you give him like a cup, he'll like find a creative way to drink the cup, right? Usually most people that get the cup, let's say you tell them to drink out of it, they'll be like, right? Karush will kind of be like as if he's confused at what the concept is, like some kind of caveman, and he'll like grab it from the top and still like, and then he'll be like, that was the decision that only Karush makes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the type of stuff that I like from him. I'll let Romeo kind of ramble, and then I have another thing that I want to say. Go ahead.
Yeah. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier about like the high IQ and stuff like that. I think Karush, what you could say, has a high IQ because it's one of those things where it's not just secondary thinking. It's almost like third dairy, for sure. Let's say that. You know, we have that thing.
Alternative.
Well, like for example, we have like instead of A to B thinking, right? But then we have A to C thinking. I feel like Karush is A to like B or even E. Like again with like the cup example, right? It's like you could just drink out of the cup, or you could explore and do some more. And may I ask, this is Explorer's first year, correct? Right?
Yes, their first year in the league.
I feel like honorable mention, Explore Academy. General, like just common general, should be rookie of the year. Like,
I mean,
that's school, you know what I mean? Like as a team, it's insane to see. Yeah, because like it's happened in the past where like schools come and go or whatever. Like when a school comes into the league, you can see they're still trying to find like their footing.
Yeah.
But like from day one, because I believe we played their first game, right? It was Ecta versus Explore Academy.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, or at least it was Ecta's first game was against Explore Academy. And yeah, I just see these kids and I'm like, wait, is this the new school? Because like they know what they're doing. But then again, also they have Spiro, so it's like, yeah, you get a kid like Karush and you get like the whole team when you have a very dedicated coach. So shout out to Coach Spiro, shout out to Karush, and shout out to the whole Explore Academy.
Yeah, no, it's such a solid crew. And one of the things that I have to say with Karush, like you said, when you were talking about like that ability to just kind of go forward with thinking and constantly be ahead of it. Karush is the type of performer where I think 2 times throughout the season, I just threw Karush in a game. Like I was like, you do it, right? We taught him Evil Twin in the span of like 2 minutes. Fully understood the concept, did an amazing job as the, I think Karush was the straight man in the scene and played it perfectly with being like kind of an evil human, but like not. You know what I mean? Which allowed the other characters to kind of reflect off of each other really well. And then on top of that, superheroes I think is one of the big ones that I really liked with Karush. He started off with the suggestion of 50% opacity man, who was like kind of useless because he's like almost there but not quite because he's only 50% opacity.
Right.
And he gets defeated by baldness quite hard. Like he gets absolutely pulverized by baldness. Later on in the scene, someone's like, "Oh, the baldness, it's too strong," and then he goes, "I'll cover you. Wait, I can't." And it's such a stupid joke, but it's so good because in superheroes, usually whoever the new superhero is tends to be the full shine of the scene now, right? Like it's kind of like it's not as emotional party-like as much as superheroes. It's kind of like this person is now the main part of the scene, everyone else is kind of quieter as we let this person cook. Being able to quickly come in with one line and it is as good as that of I'll cover you, wait, I can't, was so good. But that's just a testament to the type of performer Karush is. When it comes to movement, secondary thinking, just the natural ability, Karush is extremely good. Going into our next one, also over at LVA. LVA had a lot of really, I think they only had rookies this year, from what I understand, correct? Yeah. So LVA, amazing job this year, and another performer that I think really deserves to shine, Leon. Leon is such a like an unsung hero, I think. Leon is so good. Like, just consistently, one, the ability that Leon has to just be at every show shows how much Leon is growing as a performer, but also at the same time, Leon has a lot of these really solid ideas that I really like. I think I got to perform with Leon in a Switch interview, I think. I could be so wrong, but I feel like I did. And I remember, like, realizing how well Leon was able to reflect off of whatever I said back. Right? And it just felt so natural. Like, I was like, I feel like I'm performing with one of the performers I usually perform with, as opposed to like I'm performing with a high school I've never performed with.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to how good Leon can do. Romeo, I think you've seen a little bit of Leon as well.
Not only have I seen Leon, but I also got to perform with them as well. Because I think, it was the Wildcard show. It was like you, me, and Leon, Mia, like a bunch of. It was against Still Soul. Yeah. It's the Wildcard show against Still Soul. And the thing that I really appreciate about Leon, going back to like just who they are as like a person. When I first met them backstage, introduced, like, hey, nice to meet you. They're a very respectable person. Like they are so like kind, sweet. Like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And like you could tell they want to be here, which is one of my favorite things about like all the performers we have are people who want to be here. But like Leon is just like genuinely excited, genuinely happy to be here, genuinely wants to learn.
Yeah.
And so like then this was the crazy part. So seeing them play is one thing, but then getting to play with them is another thing. And I realized, again, that high IQ word I want to keep saying, because they are like a mechanic, not even like glue. They were like listening to figure out where are the plot holes and where can I fill in. And that is so cool. Again, as a performer to like immediately know, oh, I need to make this scene fulfilling and these are the things that are missing. A lot of times you get that through reps and like throughout the years, or so, like, you know, sometimes you have it just because you watch a lot of media, you know a lot of stories and you know how stories should go. And I can't tell which one that is for Leon, but Leon just knows how stories need to work and knows, all right, well, if you guys are here, I'm going to help you get to your next step. And that's a very, very good skill to have.
Yeah, Leon is such a solid performer. I think LVA is like a six-headed dragon, I think. They have so many like good performers, right? We mentioned Josh earlier. We mentioned Jesse, who's also a Rookie of the Year nominee. They have Tyra, who's extremely good. They have Linny, who's extremely good. They have Jed, who we've seen twice and did extremely good. They have Seth, who, if you've been to an LVA practice, Seth's brain works so differently than any other human's brain has ever worked once in existence. Super funny. And then, like, amidst all of these bigger and weirder personalities, you have Leon, who can perfectly keep everything afloat quietly. Like, no one, that's why I said an unsung hero, because you see Leon perform, and you're like, holy bejesus. That person quite literally filled in everything exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And at the same time, their character was like not even the biggest part of the scene. Like the biggest part of the scene, there was so much going on, but the only reason why it makes sense is this character that was quietly pushing everything the whole time, just making sure that train stayed on the tracks. And that's a big testament to who Leon is as a performer. Last one for Rookie of the Year. This one is, I feel like has to go sung. I think if you were here for the early parts of the season, just because this performer wasn't available as much later in the year, but if you were here for the early part of the season, I think a presence was felt and everyone really, really enjoyed watching this performer, and I would feel amiss if I didn't put them all into the list. But freshman over at Del Sol, Micah, such a very deserving performer to be in a list like this. Micah is so funny. I mean, it just the energy grenade that is throwing Micah into any scene and or game is a testament to how good Micah is. I feel like it's one of those things where, like, let's say you were watching a game and you were like, okay, these kids need a little bit of energy. You just throw Micah in their scene and you'll be like, this scene just exploded, and now it is this boogie down happiness wonderland that is making me smile, and I want to experience all of it 1,000 times over. I don't know if that's a good explanation of anything ever on Earth, but
Yeah, I mean, I have a similar tangent that I think would probably describe Michael well, maybe. There's this classic Nickelodeon film that I grew up watching. Maybe you grew up watching it too, Back at the Barnyard, you know. And it's about like
I know what you're gonna say.
and you know how like there's this scene where like they're throwing a party in the barn and everything, everything's going great, and you just have like this big wooden box, and like they open it. And it's just this wild thing just comes out. It's like you don't know what it is. You don't know if it's an animal, but it just starts dancing. And be like, blah, and it's like this crazy energy. That is like how Micah pretty much entered. It's almost like Del Sol just opened up the crate. It's like, do not open in case of emergencies. And it somehow, it was crazy because I remember seeing Micah at the workshops, the preseason workshops before we even started the shows. And I was like, I need to see this kid in a show because based off of the class, like he was just, yes, like just ready, running down stage, like movement after movement after movement. Like, I give the note a lot of like, oh, be louder or have more energy. I don't think Micah has ever gotten that note. I think Micah just is like that. And like that's not a bad thing. I mean that like the greatest way possible. It's like all the strengths that all these rookies that we've been talking about so far are so great. Like we need to like highlight everything, whether it's the high energy of Micah, whether it's a high IQ of like Karush, whether it's like the presence and the stillness of Jesse, or it's even like the fixing and the glue that Leon possesses. Like they all have these incredible, crazy strengths that they can only grow from and get more of as they continue. So as I was saying, yeah, like all these performers, they have such great strengths, and the fact that a lot of them are freshmen, they can only go up from here. And I think any of these folks after this year, you could probably see them again on Most Improved next year or even MVP next year. Like I think there's so much room for growth.
And I think this is my last little note. I do agree with everything that is stated. All these performers are so deserving to be on this list. My last little note for specifically Micah was I went to a practice for Del Sol this year where you can see that Micah is a real leader to the team. That kind of goes understated. Micah, I don't think has a technical role in their board. I don't think so. I think Micah's just a cool freshman that's allowed to be here. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Micah also simultaneously is like, all right, guys, let's pay attention here. And you're like, whoa, okay, I like this one. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's stuff like that I think doesn't always get seen when we're watching Micah as a performer. There is this level of professionalism that Micah has backstage of like, hey, let's pay attention to who's telling us something right now because this is how we're going to get better. I don't know if it's part of just Micah wants to get better or if Micah also has this will to see the whole team succeed and is like, hey, if we're going to succeed, we all have to lock in. And that's a big testament to Micah. Other performer on this list who's a leader to their team as well, I believe Karush is like head honcho when it comes to examples over there at Explore Academy. They're like, we need an example, Karush, and they'll call him up and then he'll just do whatever. Just because secondary thinking, prime examples, it just helps with everything. These are two performers, those two are two performers that constantly lead their teams in their own respective ways. Jesse and Leon I've been to an LVA practice. Leon, there's so much energy at LVA. It is kind of insane. If we want to talk about a barnyard, go to LVA. It is crazy in there. And then you just have Leon who's like, and then you choose Leon for the game, Leon absolutely cooks every single time. And then you'll have Jesse in the corner kind of like, and then you choose Jesse and absolutely cooks. So it's like so crazy how like all these performers have such big impacts despite kind of being so different in all their respective ways, right? LVA it is a barnyard over there, but I'll tell you, it is fun witnessing it because you'll have the quiet ones. You'll call them, you'll be like, let's give them a chance. Absolutely cook. And you're like, why is this whole team so good? Overall, Rookie of the Year, once again, big shout out to those four performers. So very deserving. And if you want to know which of these performers wins this award, it's going to be at Mr. B. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be at
April 18th at the Broadway in the Hood's Legacy Theater of Excellence. Woo-hoo! And also happening at the Broadway in the Hood Legacy Theater of Excellence, April 10th is our playoff kickoff. So you can see a bunch of amazing shows starring other students, maybe starring some coaches and some other people part of the board. Oh, who knows? All you get is awesome improv consistently in April before the school year ends.
It will happen. You will see it. Get ready, Buckarooski. Whoa!
And especially like, how many of them again are freshmen, may I ask?
I want to say Leon and Micah are freshmen.
I apologize. It's 3 o'clock, and I had set an alarm for that. Hey, folks, that's a 30-minute warning before we get kicked out of this room. All right, but